All right, guys, we are back live.
Okay, right. I'm
Open
back
arms. Are you ready to introduce your section?
Yes, I think. Should I start to share a screen with these slides?
Yeah, go for it.
Just go to the right one. So we go to present.
I'm excited for this one.
Right. Well,
some exciting. You guys have some of the best privacy integrations.
Well, Lightning and JoinMarket, that is.
Oh, but what you can do? What's the direct to Tor? What's your Tor and the feature?
The IP to Tor
thing?
IP to Tor, yeah. You guys should show that a little bit.
Yeah, we have another part on that later on part 3, but I think JoinMarket open arms are ready. Still want to show us some code, or all right?
Yes. Do you see my screen?
I see your screen. You're ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So are we live? I'm asking.
We are live, sir. You're good to go.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm OpenArms. I'm the contributor to the RaspiBlitz project, and just been recently spending some time with integrating JoinMarket. And so I just would like to go through JoinMarket in general, why we kind of put energy into it, and also that how does it look like when it's working on the RaspiBlitz, and also how is this menu looks like, which is otherwise in a standalone version is known as JoinInBox as well. So I'd like to start with just a couple of words about JoinMarket. So first of all, is the longest standing CoinJoin implementation with decentralized coordination and incentive structure. So what just a couple of words at what CoinJoin is. So it's basically specifically it's equal output CoinJoins, which we are meaning when just saying a CoinJoin, and it is basically a privacy technology which is done. So which is transactions coordinated between multiple participants to join their coins together in order that there will be no clear connection between inputs and outputs. And with like multiple coin joins, we can improve our privacy. And so it's the you have like identity tied to your coins, for example, being bought through KYC services, or you're paying something which is coming with identification as well. It would be very good if the payee wouldn't know your history going back, or when you are withdrawing from an exchange, the exchange wouldn't know what you are doing with your money. That's like kind of a basic right, which is kind of natural to us, but it doesn't work like that by default with Bitcoin. So we have like 3 main CoinJoin implementations. Most popular is the JoinMarket, that is Wasabi wallet, and the most recent and also quite popular is Whirlpool from the Samurai wallet. But we'll just focus on JoinMarket and what does it do. So it has this maker and taker model, which makes takers able to pay others to CoinJoin with them, and the makers can earn Bitcoin by offering funds to CoinJoin with. So it's all a decentralized structure. There is no central coordinator, but it's always the taker who is collating the transaction and coordinating, basically. You can find the code on this link. It's all on GitHub. It's been moved from an older repo, which is under the JoinMarket org as well. but it's all started in like 2015, so quite a while ago now. And in the current repo, it's been moved to in 2016 November, and there's been like 26 contributors to it, which is, I mean, it's a quite complicated thing. You are basically a cryptographer if you are dealing with this thing. So we have the main maintainer is Voxwing, if you know him, called Adam Gibson in other names. Also Chris Belcher and like Christos Kaupe and a couple of other names I could mention, but it's just best to go to the GitHub page and see what they've done. So it's all written in Python. So if you it's a very popular programming language, so and very versatile as well. So it's good to familiarize yourself with the code if you can. It is, so the software stack is the way it works. It always and only can be connected to a Bitcoin full node through its RPC connection. So you don't need any other servers to be running, but your own full node. And I mean, most by default on the same machine, you would have the JoinMarket kind of daemon and JoinMarket software running, which then can be used with the command line interface, which is very closely related to what the JoinInBox menu is kind of translating into a RaspiBlitz like, so say menu system. And then JoinMarket Qt GUI graphical interface, which can be used on a desktop, and we'll go into detail with that later. You know, a bit of talk about how the specific CoinJoin implementation. So we're starting with pool size there, but there is not really a thing like that in here. We have an offer book, which is made up by the makers who are offering their coins to be joined with, and the way it works, the taker chooses that which amount he wants to coin join, and he can choose anything within the offer book limits. So if there are offers, then you can trigger them to and pay them to be part of the transaction. The fees make up from two parts, which is the first is the fees which are paid to the makers. So these are set by the entities who are putting these funds up on offer, but they also randomized within the set limits, which is by default like plus minus 20%. And so each maker, each participant in the CoinJoin would get some of this. And the minor fees, which are obviously depending on how big the transaction is, so how many participants there are and how many inputs and outputs there are in the transaction. And also interesting setting where from the maker fee the makers earn, they can allocate some funds towards the on-chain fees. So it's kind of everything is paid by the maker, by the taker who is coordinating and collating the transaction, but the makers can choose to put the fees which they earn towards the on-chain fees. This is again making it more difficult to kind of see who is playing which role and which input is connected to kind of which output possibly. The architecture of the kind of how the software is running by default is spoke about the coordination, which is being decentralized in a way that most transactions are done by different takers. There is no central server, and they're kind of running through multiple IRC servers, and the communication between the peers is encrypted as well. So the IRC server wouldn't see anything. All it can do is maybe censor some offers, but that's why we have multiple servers up, which are unrelated to each other. The whole system is, the way it is installed on RaspiBlitz, it can only be run behind Tor completely. I mean, it would be possible to run it on ClearNet, but there will be no point of that. The size of the coin joins, because of the limitation of the IRC servers, is well up to like 13-ish, I think. If there's too many peers, there will be too much communication, and the server will throttle. So there is some limit there. So by default, it is between 7 and 9, and the minimum of 4. A bit of talk about the wallet structure, which is a bit unique. It has. So you get one seed when you generate the wallet or import another seed. It will make 5 accounts, which means 5 different derivation paths from the same seed. And it's code accounts by, in other wallets. In JoinMarket, it is called mixed depth. And the point of this, that the UTXOs can, so for example, a UTXO deposited from the first mixed depth. Let's just go to the next slide quickly to see what I'm trying to mean here. Is here we can see mixed depth 0, mixed depth 1, and mixed depth 2, and it has addresses on all. And then there is one UTXO is kind of deposited on the first address, and there are none in the other 2. And that is because the UTXOs can only progress automatically between mixed depth as a result of a coin join. And the way it works, the coin join does progress to the next mixed depth. So from, in this case, if there would be a coin join, it would come from here to the internal addresses of mixed depth 1, and the exchanged is being kept behind, being kept in the original mixed depth where the input was. So if I would coin join this one, it would just move to the internal address, the same place where this non-coin join changes. So that avoids merging unmixed changed automatically. And then there are some restrictions how the wallets can be used, because when some funds are deposited, they will be broken down between the 5 mixed depth, all controlled by the user, but they cannot be spent together. So you can only spend or send UTXs out from one mixed depth at a time. So there will be no consolidation between accounts, and that is kind of a protection to keep the user from merging the unmixed change or forced to keep it separate. So also looking at this, so as I said, there are, which is, I mean, as you know, computer science word, we start at 0, and then 1, and 2, and 3 and 4 is not shown because it's not, it's just not being opened up here. But you can see the and the indexes. So the first address, second address, and this would be the second derivation path, and the third. And we can go on like this, but we only go up to 4, which is the 5th. Some features which are implemented in the JoinMarket wallet software, which is coin control through both the command line interface and also the GUI. And also, as you could see here, there is auto labeling happening. So there are new addresses which are empty, and there will be no transaction on them. There's been a deposit address. And if I would send out the funds from here, it will be labeled as a used address. And then there is a couple of other examples, which is the change output, change out, label change out, which is the unmixed change from the last coin join. There is a non-coin join change, which is the change output from a non-coin join transaction, which has happened here because I've just sent funds out of this wallet without a coin join. And then there could be reused addresses, which is where there is more than one UTXO on one address, or there's been like 2 or more than one transaction done. And also, these are the funds which are the most private and the result of a CoinJoin, which are labeled CG out. The different scripts with the one called send payment py, which is a Python script, you can pay with a CoinJoin, which can be a chosen amount and within the offerbook limits as discussed. The Tumblr script is more complicated because it can be set, and it does so by default, to do multiple CoinJoins to multiple addresses, which you can give at least 3 or 3 to 5 addresses you can give to have the outputs ending up on. And it also includes sweep transactions, which means when you start this kind of train of CoinJoins, there will be the first transaction will be done in a way that there is no unmixed changed output is created. And then also, because we are speaking about 5 to 10 here, there will be some sweep transactions in between, and also obviously all the whole amount or all the amount will be broken up and ending up on these addresses without any change in the end. And also PayJoin or pay to endpoint protocol, which has been there for a while now, available to be run between JoinMarket wallets, but in the latest muster and in the upcoming next release, there is BIP78 support as well, which is compatible with sending to and also receiving from, I think, certainly in the works to BTC Pay server and Wasp wallet both. But yeah, the sending has been already tried out and works. So coming back to RaspiBlitz being RaspiBlitz specific, how is this service being installed? It is a one-click option from the services menu, or need to run this script, which is the config script JoinMarket.sh on, we would say, when we would want to install it. And this is there since the previous 1.5 version of the RaspiBlitz. This is again building from the source code straight from GitHub, signed from the developers, and also running under a dedicated separate user, which is labeled called JoinMarket. This is just a screenshot of how it looks that you go into the menu when you have connected to your RaspiBlitz by the default method through the SSH new services and install JoinMarket. This is just the way you will be shown how to, what happens when you run the script with some outputs, and to see what is happening and what it does. So just showing all output, which you can check if anything is going wrong. There are also a special directory in the mnt/hdd appdata /joinmarket, where all the settings and the wallets are stored, and then they are being preserved on the disk between the SD card updates, as we do with all the services. Also, it has a bit of a trick built in, that because the Raspberry Pi is an ARM and not Intel processor-based board, it needs some special dependencies to make it run in a way that it can, the JoinMarket Qt GUI on your desktop running from the RaspiBlitz. We'll show the example of that later as well. And then we have this when it is installed, we have the entry in the main menu, which brings up this little info page, which then links to this clickable link, which basically a helpful kind of tutorial of about what to do with JoinMarket, and it just tries to kind of collect and order a little bit the documentation which is available. And the way we get into it is to run this simple command, which only means that you are logging into the JoinMarket user, and it's called sudo su JoinMarket. Or you can use the JoinMarket user via SSH, so you can log in straight into it. Instead of admin, you can use the JoinMarket user and use your password B, which is the Bitcoin RPC password, to log in. So that one line to start. And then now, since the version 1.6 of the RaspiBlitz, we have this JoinInBox menu integrated into the RaspiBlitz. So not just having a simple command line interface, but have a little bit of help to point where to point the user what can be done, and all is aimed to be right. So you don't need to look up the commands to use the JoinMarket command line, but it's all coming from this menu and being shown to you as well. So these are examples. I think so this is the main menu which is being opened. If you have a wallet generated already, then you can see the addresses and the balances through this info menu. But we'll go through all the kind of other things we can do. So the second option, the Qt GUI, is about show how to open the JoinMarket Qt GUI on the desktop. And this is a special option which you do open through the terminal in Windows and macOS, and you would need to use something like PuTTY or some other terminal program on Windows, but it does work and been tested. You have different instructions for all three main desktop operating systems. For Linux, which is being screenshotted here, you just need to kind of copy paste this one line, which is broken into two, and paste it into the terminal like it is shown here, and it will ask for the password, which will be the password B as described here, and it describes what will happen. What will happen is the graphical interface will run on your desktop relate from the node via this encrypted SSH tunnel. There is some information about, obviously this is again a new program to familiarize yourself with, but there is quite extensive documentation from the JoinMarket developers, and there is also a great about half an hour, 40 minutes video from Adam Gibson demonstrating the usage of this program. So there is a great thread on Twitter from Hazi and Hitoshi. And this is how it looks like. You've seen the screenshot before. That's where a developed structure has been shown. You can basically just use it as it would be opening from your desktop, even if it's in reality tunneled from your RaspiBlitz. Of this QI is that you can generate a new wallet, you can open existing wallets, and in this case it would be opened from the file system of your RaspiBlitz, from that safe place, not your desktop. And you can exercise coin control. You just right click on UTXOs and you can freeze them. You can send payments with or without a CoinJoin with the help of this send payment pie. And you can use the Tumblr options, which you can freely configure. What is not available is running the yield generator, because that requires an always-on setup, like a server, which is RaspiBlitz perfect for. So that's why I've been implementing it to the menu. It's just links for the documentation I mentioned before. Next, the menu item is the wallet menu, where you can just basically generate a new wallet. It will get you. So this is now on your same as like the RaspiBlitz menu is. Now this is the JoinInBox or JoinMarket menu. And if you click on one thing, then it will bring up the command line automatically. You don't need to type anything else apart from things like, I mean, what you want to do, and also things like passwords when you interacting with an already existing wallet. And there is another helper function here, which would be the import function, when you can copy wallets from a remote node. So let's say you have been running JoinMarket from on another computer, and now you have your RaspiBlitz and you prefer to use that. And in that case, you could just choose to copy over the local network, or if it's a really remote computer running Tor, you can copy through Tor. And this is kind of the instruction set you need to have a look through, but relate it to the folder where the wallets are, and open a terminal and put this one line in there, which will copy over the wallets after you have put your password in. And then you can open it on the RaspiBlitz, on the JoinMarket running in the RaspiBlitz. So the biggest thing is running the yield generator, which means that you are acting as a maker. You can offer your deposited coins from the JoinMarket wallet for others to CoinJoin with in return for a small fee, and there is also a significant privacy benefit, even if you are not the coordinator. So the coordinator would know that which inputs belong to which outputs, but for everyone on the outside and for someone looking at the blockchain, that will be still obscure. So in this menu, there are the options to interact with this yield generator script. One important thing is to configure it before you would run. And that is done by just simply editing this text file, which is being put nicely in the menu. And it's all explained what you can do here. Basically, you can just leave it at by default. It defaults to quite kind of low fees, so your chance of being part of a CoinJoin would be higher, but the satoshis you earn would be lower. But what you can do, if you keep it on a relative offer rather than an absolute, you can just increase this CJ fee _R value to higher. You can even jump some decimals here, and these are the factors which with this value is randomized when the offer is being communicated, and then this TX fee is the part which you would spend on the minor fees from your fee earned, and that is being randomized as well with 30% in this case. You can tell how much, what would be the minimum CoinJoin, the minimum amount you want to participate in, so that stops your UTXs being broken up to many little parts. And when you are done editing this, you just press OK, and then it will be saved. And the next thing is when you go and run this yield generator. Basically, here I had a screenshot of a node which had multiple wallets available. So when you do choose this maker run the yield generator, press OK, and then the next window will be the choose wallet kind of window, which then you would just need to type the file name you want to interact with. And next it would ask for your password. This is the only place where kind of this JoinInBox menu asks for your password, because it needs to run it through a systemd process to keep it running in the background. Even when you exit the command line and you close the WoW terminal, the service, which is the yield generator service, will be just continuing in the background, keeping your offer alive and make you able to participate, as long as you are restarting the node, because the wallet, the password is used up in the sense that once it's entered, to the script, it is discarded, shredded, overwritten a couple of times, and deleted from the disk. So it's not saved at all, and try to prevent it to have it lingering around in the memory as well. But because of that, the service would restart but wouldn't have your password, so you would need to go into the menu again and start the yield generator again. But usually, I mean, this is an always-on server we are running. I sometimes don't restart for weeks, even months, if there is like no update for that long. There are a couple of other options here. You can run and configure. You can list the past transactions, the past coin joins your yield generator has been a part of. You can see your nickname, so you can look up your offer in the offer book. And then you can monitor the service and have a look at the logs, or just stop the whole thing. I always try to set it in a way that it shows you the actual command which it does run when you are before it runs. So for example, when you're monitoring, it is the standard way of monitoring a service, which is this with systemctl and status option. And then the logs, again, similar, they're found here in this path, and then it just looks for the last file which has been modified. Another script, another option, it's in the lower right corner. You can see we get to the send part. So this is send payment part, send payment pie script, and it has a couple of things, so many windows. These are just appearing after each other when you are what you want to. So here you would choose this if you want to pay to an address with or without CoinJoin. Let it be your address, or let it be someone else's, or maybe even paying for a service. You would choose the wallet again by typing the test.jm in this case, and then the questions are being asked at which account or misdepth you want to use. So how many makers you want to CoinJoin with. You can use 0. In that case, there would be no CoinJoin done, just would be a simple Bitcoin transaction. And then you can choose the amount, how many Satoshis, to which address, and it's all being confirmed before you would engage. The miner fee actually is defined in the JoinMarket CFG, which is by default would go to have the transaction confirmed in the next 3 blocks, but you can arbitrarily change it to have it either higher aim or just configure it to use an arbitrary number of Satoshis per byte. So that you would need to do before, but it would again tell you if it would be too big, and you will need to confirm that you want to go ahead. First here in this confirm this screen, and the next it would open or run the script, which is then tells you that you're running this command, the Python sendPayment.py, M5 for first mixed depth, or for second mixed depth actually, mixed depth number 1, number 9 for 9 makers to CoinJoin with. This is the name of the wallet, the amount you want to CoinJoin, and this address you want to send to. You can double check here again. This is the same thing which has been given here in words. And then this is just the output of the script. You will see this appear as the script runs. And it, again, if it doesn't have default options, which these are not defined by default, but can be in the JoinMarket CFG, you can confirm that how much do you want to pay for the CoinJoin itself to the makers as a fraction. So that would be between 1 and 0 means 100% of 0. So if you would want to go down to, for example, 0.001%, you would write in 0.001, which I think I've done here, yes, before we come to the next question. So, well, so this is in absolute numbers, right? So 001 would mean 0.1%, exactly. And you want, and then the next question is what the absolute limit would be. So how much maximum you would want to give to a maker. And I told, well, let's stay quite stringy to go for 1,000 Satoshis per maker. And then again, it just summarizes what you're spending, and also telling you which is the miner fee you are using, which is set 1 Satoshis per byte in this case. And only when you all aware of this would ask for your wallet description passphrase, which is the wallet password which you have set when you generated the wallet. And with that, you would give it to go. So we had like 3 steps of confirmation here, so cannot really go wrong. Now I will be a bit quicker to go through the rest of the functions of the JoinMarket menu. This is the freeze method. It is the way to do the coin control in the CLI. Here you just choose this menu option, choose the wallet, and then there will be this little script showing, which is an interactive script, which will ask you that, look, in this mix depth, it also asks for the mix depth used. So in this case, I've been using the first mix depth. There are 2 UTXOs here. And if you want to freeze one of those, basically freezing means market to not spend in the transaction which is coming. So market to not spend, I've gave it a 1. So in this case, what is this? This is all testnet coins. So it is either 37 million sats have been frozen. So we'll be only using this small UTXO, which is not frozen in the next transaction. And then when you've done, I mean, in a typical case, you would have many more UTXOs. You just type -1, and then the script would exit. And then now you can go on and send, and then it would only use the ones which are not frozen. Again, a quick run through about how the PayJoin menu works. You have 2 options when you choose it. Receive, and first you would need to go, or your counterparty would need to go to receive option. So what PayJoin means, first of all, it is another type of CoinJoin, which is not equal amount, but it is basically a mini CoinJoin, also called, also implemented in the Wasabi. It is implemented in Wasabi as well, just coming up, but in the Samurai wallet first, and they have the specific name for it. I don't want to say the wrong word. So what is a PayJoin transaction? So basically, it is a way when one peer pays another, and the payee or the seller contributes one input, or at least contributes some inputs to the transaction. So he will be paying himself. So inside the transaction, he would get that contributed transaction back, plus some from the payer or the buyer. And basically the change would be returned to the payer, and the payment would be, or the leftover change, which would be consisting of the input which the seller contributed to the input side, and the payment itself. So in this way, it will be absolutely unclear that what was the payment amount really. So the amount is obscured, despite there are clear numbers showing, but it's not the real movement of funds. And also there is the basic kind of presumption of chain analysis broken, which is called the common input ownership heuristic, which is a rule which would suggest that all the inputs of a transaction are attributed to one entity, which is wrong in this case, because one of the inputs through the page-on protocol communicates it through the page-on protocol is being added in by the person who is the receiver of the payment. So there we go. We receive through the menu. Then you need to choose a make steps to receive to. It has only one thing to be aware of, that make steps needs to have at least one UTX, so to be offered to the transaction. And then how much you want to receive. Again, confirm the details before engaging. And the menu would show the command it runs. So this Python receive pagejoin.py, M0 for the first mix depth, the test wallet, and 10,500 satoshis. And this just tells you a little tip that what you need to give to the payer. And this is like a BIP71 kind of payment URI. What you have here, this is the original kind of implementation of PageJoin in JoinMarket, which is working between the JoinMarket wallets. If you would have an onion address or like a HTTPS website instead of this GM nick, which is only an IRC communication nickname. So if you would have a HTTPS website here instead, then it would be very similar to what the BIP78 protocol is about. But in this case, you would just communicate this BIP21 URL to your account, to the person who you would pay you. And then here we come to the send payment option, which can be done from the command line, but through how it looks in the menu, that you would choose send. Again, one step is left out, which when you are choosing the wallet, then you are choosing the mix depth you want to pay from. Obviously, you need to have enough satoshis in there, and just paste the receive URI, check the details, and there it goes. Again, before engaging, it would you the minor fees, and it would show you the whole command it is running. So there again, you can double check the address, the amount, that you've been not tricked to paste something else, and only then it would ask for a passphrase, which can be seen here, already done, and then where the output is about basically the JoinMarket protocol, or the JoinMarket client is connecting to the IRC servers, which is the JoinMarket bit, and the Guybrush hacking would find this kind of ephemeral offer of the receiver of this PageJoin, would engage, tell you the details, and would come up with something like this, which is a raw transaction, which then would be broadcast to the network, and there you go. You could do a PageJoin like this, and it's been already, I tweeted out about doing this with the Back32 address format, which is available in JoinMarket, and maybe will be used by default in the future when the whole order book and the orders will be migrated to native seg with Back32. And this is just a tweet when I bought basically a virtual green tea on Testnet from this website of Mr. Cooks, just to prove that these implementations are really compatible. And they are. You can check from the tweet, link of the tweet, you can check the TXID, and it's on the blockchain, on the Testnet blockchain. Again, some other functions, just checking, we are getting closer to the end now. So there is a thing called the offer book, where you can check all the offers of the makers are making available. This is basically about reading the output from the IRC servers, which being brought, kind of IRC bots of the makers. And you can either do it through a server of someone else, which is, there is like a default server, which is the joinmarket.me/ob, which is boxing running, and it's available most of the time. So you can, but to verify or to look up your view of this market, or just to avoid connecting to any kind of third party, you can run your own, and you can do it from this menu when you choose offers and you start watching the offer book locally. It will install the dependencies and start the systemd service, which will be serving this website and reading the IRC server, and it will show you a hidden service address, basically. So you can not only connect it on your LAN, connect to it on your LAN, but from anywhere else through the Tor browser, which is, this address is, it's even up currently. I won't keep it on for long, but you can check yourself that it's a very similar number is served by the server of Boxwing as well. And then you can see there are 146 orders from 144 different entities or clients. And I won't go into analyzing the order book itself, but basically it's quite a lot of liquidity now, given that there are people who are, or well, these are bots really, offering from like 100,000 Satoshis to 5 Bitcoin, or up to 400 Bitcoin or 200. But you know, the higher the numbers are, usually the less offers you get. So it's best to kind of try to CoinJoin in a sensible area where you can see that there are, 20, 30, 50 offers are available, so that there are plenty to choose from, and there are no Sybil attacks. The chance of Sybil attacks would be much less. And right, so 2 more options. There's 3 more options left. The configuration option is just again opening the JoinMarket CFG as it would have opened the yield generator pie, where you can edit your options. It has a little guidance in it, and also inside the configuration file, it's all commented that what is used for what setting. So there is a lot of help there, and there is the field, for example, passwords, the username and password to connect to your Bitcoin D is pre-filled by the install script. So you don't really need to set any to change the default miner fee, for example. And then there is an update option, since it's this whole menu system is an ongoing development, work in progress. You can jump up to the status at the latest master on GitHub to quick fix any bugs or get to see the newest edit functions. And if you get to see any bugs or any problems, please, it's best to open an issue or just contact me directly on any kind of social media, which could be Telegram, Keybase, Twitter, where I'm around at OpenArms. And or if you come to and open or look at the code, maybe you can do a PR at github.com/openarms/JoinInbox, where this project lives. There's a link here. Somewhere, yes. So this is the link of this menu system, and used not only on the RaspiBlitz, but it could be set up standalone as well. and there are plans to build an SD card image release, for example, to be used, for example, with an old Raspberry Pi 3 and connect remotely to a RaspiBlitz or any other kind of Bitcoin node, Bitcoin core full node. And right, last thing is just to exit to your command line and then again have a look at this guidance, training to interact with JoinMarket. I mean, if you looked, listened through this far, you probably have a little bit of idea, but you can read more here and also refer to it anytime. There are very useful links there as well. And let's just checking if I have a couple more minutes just to give some basic recommendations about how to use, well, the CoinJoins and how to use the JoinMarket specifically. There are a couple of tricks which you can improve your privacy with and which are applied automatically. For example, if I'm using the Tumblr, but it's best to do manually at some point as well. So for example, if you're running your JoinMarket wallet for a while, and especially like it's just passively the yield generator is running in the background, you have been through your UTXOs have been through plenty of CoinJoins, but from time to time it is advised to do sweep an entire mixed depth or just one UTXO which you want to do something with. And sweeping means to spend it without creating change, right? And as well, so you can do a CoinJoin without any exchanged and basically break the links of the previous things happening with that, with the history of, break the links from the history of that UTXO with that, with a quite good method with a sweeping transaction. Also, if you want to have privacy, want to make your UTXOs private quicker, then it's probably best to trigger this chain of CoinJoins, which is done by the Tumblr script, and which does include sweeping transactions as being introduced, I think, in 2018, that the first transaction of the Tumblr is always a sweeping one, and then also the last one is not creating any more change. Also, it's good practice. I mean, if you are running the Tumblr or the send payment Pi, or like sending a payment triggered by yourself, then you are acting as a taker. But it's good to act as a maker as well. So just to have your real generator running in the background and participate in other people's CoinJoins or CoinJoins coordinated by other people. If you want to come to it and use CoinJoin a large amount or kind of make a large amount private, then it would be advised to break it down to a sensible level, for example, below like 40 BTC or anything which has a sufficient amount of offers in the order book. So you would need to look at to see that, look, I have 100 BTC and only one person is above 100 BTC, is offering CoinJoins of above 100 BTC. So, you know, I couldn't do a really an effective CoinJoin, an efficient CoinJoin with, you know, more than 5 participants, for example. But if you go down to like looking at the order book, go down to like 1 Bitcoin, for example, then you would have, you know, 100 offers available to you, which then with multiple mixes would ensure that you are not even mixing with the same person, or the chance of it would be very low. And then also when PayJoin is available, use it. You have this very versatile JoinMarket wallet funded. So use it when you see that a merchant, for example, is offering to be paid through a PayJoin, or when you're just transacting between friends or some people you know are using JoinMarket, for example, then you can already do it to set up and pay with a PayJoin. So yeah, that's the next topic. That was it. Thank you for listening. And if you have, or if someone would have any questions, I'm very happy to answer or go into more detail on anything.
All right, cool. If you want to stop sharing your screen, open arms. Thanks for going into such detail. Really awesome to just see how well integrated it is into the node and how easy you guys have made it, even though JoinMarket isn't necessarily the most noob-friendly option in the privacy game right now. It's really awesome how powerful it is and how easy you guys have made it. Let's roll the next set of commercials, and we'll take another 2-minute break, and then we have one more presentation for you guys. Really excited.